Hey
Hey guys,
guys.
welcome to Somewhere in the Middle.
Slow ass.
I'm Nikki,
And I'm Angie.
and today we are looking at uh, domestic violence. I was at work yesterday and I was using YouTube videos. We're using YouTube videos to read a novel.
Mm.
And when you on your YouTube, it kind of has extra videos on the side where you can see other little things that you may be interested in. Anyway, so I had started watching a lady talking about, well, first I watched Brian McKnight talking about his ungrateful kids, and then it led to another lady talking about ungrateful kids and how she was gonna stop doing spoiling the shit out of her kids or whatever. And I'm like, and who? And so from there, it led to a young lady, 16. Well, I don't know how old she was. She looked like she was a teenager. Um, in an interview, a 30-minute interview, discussing how her mother and brother had been killed a week before by the mother's boyfriend.
Wow.
So they are asking her all these questions, and she answering them like a soldier, talking about how the relationship had gone, with the mom and the boyfriend, and how this horrible ordeal unfolded in her life. Maybe like I think it was a week, before that. And she was still recovering from the injuries that she sustained. Her and her younger sister wound up in the hospital. Mom and the brother, wound up dead. And she mentioned how the guy was very controlling and didn't have nothing, was staying with them, and you know, um, the mom was very loving and caring and all these things. And anyway, so that led me to tell my young ladies, because I'm working with ninth graders, I'm like, we're gonna have to talk about, you know, dating violence, because this is crazy. Anyway, fast forward to later on yesterday evening. I'm at home. I'm drained. I couldn't even go work out yesterday. It was unreal. Anyway, so I'm here and I'm like, okay, I want to watch something. I feel like watching a reality show. I usually don't watch reality shows. So I decide to watch a reality show based on plastic surgery. And it's like Skin Something on Netflix. First episode, first customer shows up. She got 9 bullet wounds. Black girl, 9 bullet wounds from her ex-husband. Scars from the surgery, holes in her body. She wants the doctor or the nurse or whoever to help her remove her scars so she can move forward with her life. So she kept saying, these scars just remind me of everything I lost. These scars remind me of everything I lost. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, she's referring to, her sense of peace, her, her family, her dignity, her health, no, maybe that, but she also referring to the 2 children that she found out after he stopped shooting her. Before he shot and killed himself, he shot and killed the 2 kids, their 2 kids, 4-year-old daughter and 17-year-old daughter. At this point, I'm no good. At this point, I'm a mess. Boo-hooing. Like, I knew these people. Cause why you got to kill the kids? I mean, anyway, so apparently that's what's heavy in my spirit on today. Um why do these cycles exist? Why are our people going through this? Like,
Yeah. Well, this is a sensitive subject for me. I guess you want me to cry today. That's why you brought this up. You we want to talk about it. Um,
it is what it is. I mean,
you know, and my tears would be for anger, you know, for letting myself down, for allowing myself to be, I hate to use the word victim, but to be a victim. But, you know, for somebody who's never been in an abusive relationship, somebody who's never been the recipient of violence from their partner, it's you have no idea. It doesn't start off that way. You know, they don't start off, you know, hey, my name is Chris, it's nice to meet you, I beat women for a living. Like, it doesn't start off that way. Usually it's a lot of love bombs in the beginning. It's a lot of showing up and being everything that you thought you wanted in a mate, you know. And they, I mean, you know, we did a whole series on red flags and talking about the things that you should pay attention to. The people who engage in this kind of behavior have mastered not showing their red flags in the beginning. They and not everybody, I can only speak on my situation, but nobody shows up and says, hey, I'm going to beat you and your children and I'm going to, you know, kill you in the beginning. And a lot of times, you know, fast forward years into the relationship, kids, things of that nature, and then a woman is left feeling, how do I get out of it? You know it's not right. You know it doesn't feel good, but you feel trapped. You know, depending on the dynamics, he may be the breadwinner, y'all may have kids, you know, he's beat your self-esteem, you know, down. There's so many different dynamics that exist within those relationships that um leaving is hard, and sometimes leaving happens too late. And my heart goes out to.
And that's what I think, that's what's the unrealness about it for me, because to me it seems like such a pattern. I mean, it seems like such an inevitable thing. I mean, survival, you know, instinct seems like it should kick in at some point. You know, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm coming from the aspect of somebody who has not lived through this, has not witnessed it personally in my home. I have not had any close family members to deal with this in a serious way. So I haven't gotten to that side of
Right.
understanding how, yes, this could happen to me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, because I always felt like a
If it happened to
person
you,
going
you're gonna
first.
beat him up, right? You're gonna be like, he ain't gonna hit me. Yeah, he ain't even gonna raise his voice at me.
That's it. I mean, right. And that's not even a joke. That's serious. Like, I always felt like a person is gonna show you who they are. They're
Yeah.
not gonna give you the fullness
Yeah.
in the beginning, but they're gonna give you some indications that there's an issue somewhere down the line. You know,
Right.
they're going to, like the little girl said, the guy was very controlling.
Yeah.
They're going to try to dictate your moves. They're going to try to tell you that they know what's best for you as an adult. They're going to tell you um, that, and they're gonna try that, and then they're gonna see how you respond to that. They're going to, you know, put you in a situation where you're uncomfortable and see how you respond to that. They're going to tell you they don't like your friends and see how you respond to that.
Right.
They're gonna tell you, you know, your mom and them, all them over there messy. I don't want to go over there,
Right.
and see how you respond. Then eventually, I don't want you going over there.
Right.
I mean, it starts somewhere.
Right.
Generally, you know, and I maybe there are situations where somebody just has been peaches and cream the whole time, and even for me, that's suspicious.
Right.
For me, that's suspicious because I do know, huh?
No. Right. That's suspicious.
I
When
do know,
right.
right? I do know relationships where, you know, the guy never had a crossword to say. They agreed on everything, and then he had a couple drinks in him, and he and explode, unload, you know, completely unfiltered, you know. So, you know, even that for me, I can't be serious with you until we've had a major disagreement,
Right.
because I need to see how you handle me and all of my disagreementness, And I need to know how you handle yourself when it's a disagreement. We can't be serious until that point.
Right.
Because you're not gonna just come out of nowhere. People just, in my experience, that hasn't happened. But what my question is, how do we get to the point where this becomes less prevalent? At
Right.
least it's never gonna just completely be over, but how do we get to the point where it becomes less, prevalent?
Right. I feel like there are two significant ways for that to happen. The first way is usually in our adult life, when you run across somebody who has violent tendencies, this ain't the first time. So this ain't the first time they showed up. We need to hold people accountable. If the first girlfriend that he ever hit would have done something about it, told her mama, file charges on him, because a lot of time in these domestic situations, the police come, the woman's like, oh, I don't want to file charges on him. I don't want to see him go to jail. And then he's never held accountable for his behavior. The first thing is to make it less prevalent, you got to hold people accountable. You got to teach your children to hold people accountable. That has to be, something that was inbred in them, that they know that, that ain't right. If you do something that doesn't feel good, if you violate my boundary, regardless, because you're right, it starts off as something else. For me, it started off with, I don't like that lipstick. Oh, you know what, you look in and you look good in that pink lipstick. I don't like that pink lipstick. I love it when you had that lipstick on, and then you thinking, oh, my man like it when I have it on. And it's these little microaggressions that keep occurring. And then it start off little. It's never big. It's never something, blown out. It's always little.
Calling you 8 times at work.
Right.
You think it's cute he called you 8 times at work. The whole time he the insecure idiot.
Right.
The whole time you thinking, oh, he just worried about me. Oh, he concerned. Oh, he loved me so much. And the whole time he controlling.
Right. But I think the first
I ain't never thought that was cute.
happens with these if people hold them accountable, then it doesn't escalate. The first time it ever happened, if charges would have been filed against him and you would have let him go to jail, when he was 15, 16 years old, and mamas do it too. Don't take my baby to jail. There's a chance to change the behavior. But when you don't, they think it's okay, and they got away with it the first time, and they're gonna try it again and try it again. I have to get that up.
I'm see, that's more of a passive means by which to get somebody else to stop doing it. For me, I'm more of an active participant in my future. Right. And so I'm more of a come from a side of education. Like, we need to understand where, first of all, we need to understand our own power and our own strength and our own value, because when we do that, we tend to not ignore those things which could possibly harm us. If I value myself and look forward to my future and know that I am a worthy individual, I'm only going to allow certain
I disagree
characteristics to
I disagree
in my life.
I disagree because you got to remember, this person has stalked you out, right? They have baited you, and they have created this environment where they do exhibit these characteristics that you think, oh, he got a job and he's nice and he's kind and he loves the kids and all this other kind of stuff. So all of that value stuff, it exists sometimes, not every situation, but most times, these men are, narcissists. So they know how to gaslight you, and you think, oh, I'm picking a quality person here. They don't say that they're not quality in the beginning. For me, the first moment that it happened, I know exactly. I can tell you the day, the time, the moment that it occurred, and when I went left and didn't go right, where it went downhill. You know what I mean? From there. But to say
that's the point where I'm at right now.
Right. Now that's
what I'm saying. It was something that caused you to not, like you said, file charges.
Right.
It was something in you that said, hey, this is something that for whatever reason is allowable in my life right now. Because the first day it happened wasn't the last. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, how do we get to that point from the first time, whether it was whatever the first trigger was, it was he screamed at you, because this is what they do. They're going to see how you respond before it escalates. So whatever the first thing was.
For me, it wasn't. The first thing was the hitting. That was the first thing. The first thing was the physical violence. There was no leading up to it. The first thing was the physical violence. And I tried to run out the house.
So that was his test on you. So his test, and you passed it, so he passed on to the next.
Right. And I tried to run out the house to go run and get help. And he caught me going down the stairs before I could make it to the door. Literally, like that moment was the catalyst. And I'm crying, and then he started crying. Oh, why you make me hit you? I didn't mean to hit you. And then, every song and dance is, now that part is the same in everybody's story. After the violence occurs, then he's so sorry and he tries to make up for it, and he loves you, and and all the kind of extra things that go. That's the same in everyone's story. And I know for me that was that moment when I tried to make it out the door, because if I'd have made it out the door, the police would have been here, he'd have been in jail, but I didn't. And I allowed him to talk his way out of the situation. And of course he flipped it, made it seem like, it was me. I made him angry enough to want to hit him, and I thought I was a gangster and I thought I could handle it. It ain't gonna happen again. But there was that moment right there. If I'd have made it to the door.
Yeah, no. I want that. I want there to be something that helps us to pinpoint those tendencies before it gets to that point. But I also want us to value ourselves enough to not remain in those situations. It has to be something. There's no, these things don't just happen to some people and not happen to other people on accident. If the first time you said, what, I really don't want you, to go out with your friends, and then I tell you, I don't give a fuck what you want. You stand here, motherfuckers, I'm finna go. Then you already know I'm not the bitch for you to be telling what you want. You already know that's not me.
Right.
So you already know if that's what you need to do, you already know you need to find somebody else to do that too, because that ain't me.
Right.
Point blank, period. Like, so, I mean, do I think how I am personally is the way to go and everybody should be that way? Not necessarily. No. However, I do feel that at some point we need to teach our children, male and female. First of all, you have a valuable life. This man didn't value his life, his kids' lives, nor his wife's life. He took all their life.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to teach your sons and your daughters that they're valuable, that they have something to contribute to this world, that their future is going to be amazing. And these are the things that you have to do to protect that. You don't put your hands on nobody.
Right.
Okay. You don't let somebody talk to you crazy unless it's me.
See?
You don't put yourself in harm's way. It's enough harm out there that you can come across accidentally. Right. You don't put yourself in somebody else's hands where they can, control you. I mean, there has to be something that we can do to bring this down, because I mean these were older ladies, ladies that were fully grown,
right.
with children,
right,
in these situations that I
mean, but you make it seem like that is something that can just be fixed right now. That you're talking about generational stuff. Something caused this man to feel like it was okay to beat women. At what point in his childhood, did he see his parents going through that? That's why I was saying in the beginning, it starts at home. It starts with how we raise our kids. Some woman or man or however he was raised this person to be violent and feel like it was okay to beat a woman. He didn't just wake up one morning and say, I'm just going to beat every girlfriend I ever had. He either saw his father do it, saw his mother being abused, from it. Something occurred. But that's why I say we have to, in order to stop it, we start with our kids. And how many of us, I know in my family, I have known people to been abused or to been subjected to some kind of, trauma within the family, and then the family brushes it under the table. That's just Uncle Joe. and they're not held accountable. So these people, these things keep cycling. So when you grow up and your uncle raped you or molested your sister and all kind of extra shit, and nobody held them accountable, and oh, I don't want Uncle Joe to go to jail because he really didn't mean it, and we just not gonna talk about it. So now this woman is not an adult, and her significant other hits her, and then he tells her, oh, I don't want to go to jail. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, I'll never do it again. Somebody once upon a time let her know that that was okay. It starts at home. It starts with how we raise our children and the value that we instill in them, and that we show them. My daughter, when she would come home and somebody hit her in school, the teacher didn't turn in her homework. Oh no, we finna find out. We get into the root of it. Your feelings are valid. We're gonna hold these people accountable. Nobody's allowed to hit you but me. That was my child. And these are the things that I taught her. You know what I mean? Growing up. But she saw me hold the people in her life accountable. So she knew, okay, we can hold these people accountable. And she thinks she's a gangster now and want to hold people accountable, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. It backfired.
At the end of the day, I think I grew up with the idea that somebody got to be on top. And I ain't out here putting my hands on nobody. But I'm just not the one to be on the bottom. I'm
Right.
not the one to be walked over. I'm not the one to be talked to crazy. I'm not the one to be victimized.
Yeah.
At all. Period. I ain't your victim, and I'm not raising my child or my daughter or my son to be nobody's victim at all. Period. So I just
It starts at home. You doing it. So, your son is not going to grow up. He's not going to see his mother being abused. So, and you are
and what's more is that he not gonna see his daddy abusing nobody.
right.
And he not gonna see his daddy talking crazy to nobody. He not gonna see his grandfather talking crazy to nobody and acting no fool.
Right.
So I mean, I'm not in their household every day, but I feel like I know the person that I married, and I feel like, first of all, baby, I don't think his girlfriend gonna go for it.
Right.
no more than I would have. But I honestly feel like, he's gonna see, even if he don't see it over here, he gonna see it over there. Loving relationships, a husband and wife getting along, taking care of things and doing things the proper way. And so, and what my daughter will see here is mama taking care of. And if anybody over here, they're adding.
Right.
They ain't taking away nothing.
Right.
Okay. If they in here with us, they're adding.
Right.
They ain't taking away. Period.
Right.
So anyway, guys, if you are in a domestic violence situation, please reach out for help. Please find somebody to talk to. There is a better way. You do not have to wind up with 9 bullet holes. You do not have to wind up mourning the lives of your children you left behind feeling guilty. You do not have to have another black eye, another broken arm, another broken leg. You don't have to hide to protect this person. You don't have to live if it's a house, if it's a car, you can live without all of those things. I know a young woman, young woman, young wife who, now it was, I don't, from what she told me, it wasn't even physical abuse. It was, emotional abuse, financial abuse, mental abuse. She left. She can only take, she told me, 7 pieces of clothing. She could take 7 and her daughter could take 7. And they left with nothing. Moved to another city, went to a domestic violence shelter. The next time I talked to her, she was moving into her own apartment, working at Family Dollar. And from there, she got another job. She bought a car and she moved on with her life. Right. And one thing, and this is a side story. Out here in Texas, they have Department of Rehabilitation Services, something like that. And if you say it's something wrong with you mentally or emotionally, then they will help you. They'll pay your rent for a year. They'll, give you these services, whatever, education, training, whatever. She would not accept that. She would not accept help for her rent. She would not say that it was something wrong with her. She just did what she needed to do and got out of that shelter and took care of herself and her child. It's ways to do it, guys. Just, you are valuable. You are worthy. You are the prize. And anybody treating you like you're not may not deserve to be in your presence.
Right. And I have to add one other thing to that. I know for me, he had threatened me and I was afraid of what he would do to me. Those are just, those were threats to try to hold you there. There are ways to get around that. If you call the police, if you involve them in your life, if you protect yourself, they will come and protect you. And that was one thing that I had to realize. That those were just idle threats to keep me, because he knew that he had did something that was wrong. If you send me to jail, I'm gonna send somebody, to hurt you. Okay, I went and got my gun license. I went and bought a gun. I went to the police department. I did my restraining order. You can come over here if you want to, and we got something for you. But you have to be strong enough to protect yourself, and don't believe the lies that they tell you. To try to hold you there. Empower yourself to protect yourself, because those threats could, very well be true. But you protect yourself. You got to do what you got to do. So, and there's not afraid. I wouldn't learn how to use a gun. When I got my gun license, I'm ready.
And I feel as though if you are able to look out for those warning signs, please nip it in the bud. This ain't the last one to come around. Trust me, there's more of them out there.
Ton.
Especially if you've been in a situation before where you're susceptible to believe in somebody when they say this is the last time, it's not going to happen again. Don't let the first time happen.
Right.
When somebody gets to trying to tell you what to do and how to do it, and they know what's best for you, cuss their ass out. That's what I do.
Right.
It could be something that makes sense. I mean, if we just get to know each other, I may just cuss you out just to ensure that you understand that, yes, I understand what you're saying is true, but don't tell me shit.
Right.
Don't tell me nothing. I'm grown.
Right.
Okay? And if you want to have a discussion with me and we can see how we feel about things, that's fine. But don't try to tell me what to do. Cuss their ass out. I'm telling you. I got one. Let me stop. No, that's neither here nor there, boy.
No, we're not gonna curse.
I'm saying,
but we are gonna love. We are gonna pour a lot of love into ourselves, and we're gonna love ourselves enough that type of behavior would just be beneath you, boo, beneath you. So
trust me. Anyway, okay, guys, I made it without crying, and so success. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.
Mars.